alongside Clara as well. Again, what a performance. Absolutely fantastic. I saw someone on X earlier, Dad, they said, Clara, I don't think he trains with the Blues team. I think he goes in the woods and fights black bears. He's just an absolutely solid, isn't he?
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And Birmingham City continued their fantastic start to the EFL League One season with a comprehensive 2-0 victory away at Rotherham United. Myself and Matt were at the match, fantastic atmosphere, brilliant performance. And that's what we're going to discuss in this podcast, our thoughts on the match and about the progress of Birmingham City, and just general points really about what we felt about the game. So really, Matt, obviously, great atmosphere, great win. What's your thoughts?
I'm buzzing with the clean sheet, number one. I think it's fantastic that we didn't concede anything. I'm really, really happy with the clean sheet. And I felt like that was a pretty dominant performance, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think we really got out of second gear. And you wouldn't believe that we were part of the three that got relegated from the Championship last season. I felt like we were...
No, it's night and day, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I
think that really surprised me.
We were miles ahead.
I think it's partly because we were really good and they weren't as good as I expected. So you put those together, you get a wider gap. Or it was a 2-0 victory, but it wasn't a 2-0 victory. I mean, that scoreline does not tell the story. We could have literally trounced them.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to Steve Evans and a lot of the Rotherham fans on social media, the logical Rotherham fans who are fair, they admitted they didn't put a glove on us. They came out in the first half and second half about 5 minutes where they had a couple of set pieces, but they're the home team. They're always going to come out the gates a little bit quick.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we completely controlled the game. 2 great goals. But what I'm more impressed with than the 2 goals in and of themselves, which we'll discuss in more detail, it was the control we had in the second half. We just absolutely controlled it. And I'm sure Blues fans will appreciate this comment. Normally, Dad, when Blues are 1-0 up, 2-0 up, let's just say 3-0 up, we're never happy until the 90-plus minute final whistle goes because you never know what Blues are going to do. Whereas that was the first time I sat in that stadium and I just felt we are in so much control here. It was never in doubt that we weren't going to win that 2-0 or above. We were in complete control. And it's such a strange feeling as a Blues fan, isn't it, Dad, to actually feel, one, confident on the drive up that we're going to win, and then when we're winning, that we're actually going to hold on to it and nothing disastrous is going to happen. I think it's going to take some adjustment for Blues fans to get that almost imposter syndrome out of our heads that it's all going to go.
Yeah, but that's the culture that we've been ingrained into us. Expect the worst, expect defeat, and it's going to take a little while for us to get out of that. We were really, really good, and
completely controlled it.
We did as well. Just as we always forget, just a quick shout out to a few people first because we never get to this, do we? Had a fantastic chat just before the game to Gaz and Josh. Gaz, the dad; Josh, the son. Fantastic, very complimentary about the channel, and had a really nice conversation about the match. So it was very nice meeting you guys. There's a lovely couple behind us on the coach as well, sat behind us. We only had a very quick chat with them, but it was nice meeting you two guys as well. And thank you for your lovely comments about the channel. And I had a great chat at half time with the Blues Focus guys as well. Lovely chaps. I've not actually spoken to before. In fact, actually, we was right next to them at the Wigan game. Didn't even know. It seems to be that when we get our tickets, for some reason, we're always sat next to each other. But
I think because we're both gold and we both snap them up pretty much directly at 10 a.m, the system must just put us in close proximity. But I didn't get to say hello because when I come out, it was a bit of a clunky. You were there, people were in front of us. I'll have to stop off and say hello at the next game.
I saw you talking to other people while I was talking to them. That's what happens sometimes. But anyway, it was nice meeting them.
One more shout out. There was someone who caught us first. He was absolutely drunk out of his mind. I hope he made it home okay. He gave us a lot of compliments, but he seemed to have had, he was worse for wear, weren't he, on the way out? So I hope you remember meeting us, and I hope you were okay on the way out.
As a lot of people were. But back to the match, I think the team selection surprised us, didn't it?
It did.
As you know, we do our pre-match predictions, and I think what we're seeing here is that Chris Davis is trying to pick a starting 11 to suit the style and match whatever he feels is best for the opposition. So, real big surprise, Alfie May on the bench.
Yeah, I
that took me. I mean, it made sense. I think we did have a very brief conversation about at some point Lyndon Dykes may be needed because of the physical strength, but I don't think we ever envisioned he'd be on from the beginning. Imagine having Alfie May on the bench. I'm just going to read out
Mark Leonard.
I'm going to read out our sub. Listen to this for a bench. Alfie May, Mark Leonard, Alphonse Samsted, Keshi Anderson, Yokoyama, Scott Wright, and Ryan Allsop.
Staggering.
We can only name 7 subs. I mean, we've got obviously there's players not even in that substitutes there that are not even mentioned because they're not even in the match day squad.
It's incredible, isn't
Absolutely staggering. Now we knew that Bielek was out because of the suspension that he got against Wrexham when he was sent off, and then obviously Ben Davies came in, did it solid enough, did a good job.
Good
game. I mean, they didn't have an awful huge amount of significant moments to deal with. What he did have to deal with, dealt with very, very well.
And but he's alongside Clara as well. Again, what a performance. Absolutely fantastic. I saw someone on X earlier, Dad. They said, Clara, I don't think he trains with the Blues team. I think he goes in the woods and fights black bears. He's just an absolutely solid, isn't he? And you missed one bit of the game, Dad, because you sneaked off to the loo. He did a run from the halfway line all the way through, and I thought he was going to belt it in the top corner. He just got tackled at the last minute.
I was miffed about that because I remember you came back. And literally, typical, isn't it? You go, I mean, I couldn't wait long. I'm old. I need the toilet, so I had to go. And
But when you break the golden seal, you got to go. And you got to go. And it's just the way it is. But
Anyway, enough about my toilet habits. Let's get back onto the match. But that obviously Clara has been outstanding, hasn't he, since he's been there as well. Absolutely. Also, as well, just going back to starting lineup as well. Interesting again that he stuck with Gardner Hickman starting on the right back,
and he's fantastic. And Dad, we did a video last week, and it was about the Blues' best starting 11, and I think we had 3 comments that said, maybe controversial, but I'm going to put Hickman in the right back. And actually, shout out to those people. I think Hickman has earned his place at right back. I think Laird and Buchanan in the left and the right back, when they're back fully fit, they have got one hell of a job on their hands to outplace Hickman and Cochrane if they want to get back in the team.
But that's what we want,
because they've been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we ever had competition like this, the thing that really, really impressed me the most was, I think, typically, as always happens, Rotherham, the home team, for the first 10 minutes, they came at us. They tried. They sort of pressed us. They had a few corners and a few set pieces, and we expected that, didn't we? But after that, it was like the Wrexham game. We were poor for the first, say, 15, 20 minutes of that game, and after that, we just completely dominated. In fact, actually, like you mentioned, I've been looking at some of the Rotherham podcasts. I always do this just to get a gauge what the other teams think of us, and the vast majority of them are saying that this is the best League One team they've ever seen, ever.
Even Steve Evans basically said that in the pre and the post-match interview as well. So if the manager's even coming out and saying that, we really are impressive. And, Dad, we keep... Again, this is going to sound really arrogant. I don't mean it to, but we keep saying, we thought Wrexham would be better. We thought Rotherham would be better. We're expecting a bit more out of these games. But at what point do we go, actually, we're just a league above everyone at the moment? And again, when you invest the amount of money we do, when you have a manager like Chris Davies, I think it's going to take Blues fans a bit of a shift in that mentality. But I think we need to get used to the fact that we are an exceptional team at this level.
Yeah.
And I think we're making these teams look poor as opposed to them having bad days. Yeah. We are just absolutely exceptional this season. At the moment.
I think that's a very good point, because you can only perform as well as the opposition let you. So obviously, when people say that Rotherham didn't play as well as they could, or Wrexham didn't play as well as they could, it's probably because we were the better team, and they couldn't get near us.
Yeah. Because Rotherham can only do so much. Wrexham can only do so much. When we don't allow them to have the ball, if the opposition don't have the ball, they can't hurt you, and we are just completely dominating. And I was so impressed against Rotherham. I said this a couple of minutes earlier. Even when we were 2-0 up, we were just passing it around, casual, in complete control. There is not a single moment in that game where I felt they were ever going to get back into it. And for a Blues team and a Blues fan, that's a weird realisation to get used to.
It's strange. What I was, I suppose overall, if I reflect on this performance that we saw at the New York Stadium, the thing that impressed me the absolute most was what we did out of possession. It was staggering. If you watch when Rotherham got the ball, our players were literally on them. They were buzzing around. They were even at 2-0 up. It was like we were needing to get a goal to stay up.
Yeah,
that's how hungry they were. That was so impressive. And I think, because of that, Rotherham made mistakes. They lost the ball. It allowed us in. I mean, yeah. It was 2-0. It could have been more. It wasn't. I mean, 3 points are 3 points if it's 1-0 or 10-0.
Exactly.
It's only 3 points. But
exactly.
but I think that, you don't take away anything from the fact that, we only scored 2 goals. I mean, Cochrane will come on to, he hit the bar in the second half. We'll go through the stages of the game and the goals in a second. But it was a really, really impressive, performance. But one thing that surprised me, I turned around to you after about 10 minutes and I said to you, what's going on here? Because, we were, Bailey Peacock-Farrell was hoofing the ball, so we weren't trying to play from the back. It was if we remember I said to you, we keep seeming to hoof the ball. Obviously that changed very, very quickly. It's almost as if we were adapting to their style of play, because that's what they were doing. They were completely trying to bypass our midfield. It was all long balls. It was so predictable. A little bit what Wrexham resorted to in the second half.
Yeah.
I found that strange.
This is why the Rotherham fans are getting so frustrated. They're even admitting they're so one-dimensional. When they get the ball in the midfield, they don't know what to do, and they're just trying to hoof it over the top. And when you've got Clara and Ben Davies at the back, they're just mopping it up.
Yeah.
And we just went straight back on the attack again. It was literally like Sunday League, Route 1, bosh, start again. Start again. It was
It's
all again,
predictable.
and again. I don't want to not give Rotherham the respect they deserve, but at times it felt like a training session. We were literally passing it around like they
Yeah.
weren't even there. And we keep saying this in games, Dad. Teams are chasing shadows. We're playing so well. Teams are just shattered and getting so frustrated. I mean, credit to Chris Davies. He has just completely
Wow.
transformed this football club.
Yeah.
And as Blues fans, Dad, we are not an arrogant fan base. And I know I've said a couple of statements here that if you're tuning in might sound it. We're not. We're just adjusting to this realisation that we are actually a genuinely quality team at this level.
Let's be honest, Matt.
And let's enjoy it.
We've been watching Dross, haven't we?
For 13, 15
for a
years,
long,
yeah.
long time, haven't we? I mean, we have had little flashes of good games here and there, but overall, it's been very, very disappointing for many years. And suddenly, we start a new season after being relegated. And we're playing football that I've never seen before,
Same.
and I suppose you don't feel comfortable feeling comfortable because you're expecting something to go wrong or whatever, but it is staggering.
So just jumping back into the game, Dad, because I don't want to lose track of our order here. You mentioned about us in the first 5 minutes, Bailey Peacock Farrell was going a little bit longer. We had Lyndon Dykes up there, so he added that little bit of physicality. And I want to pick up Chris Davies said in his post-match interview, and I agree, although Lyndon Dykes didn't score and he didn't on the surface look like he did much. Look how much he pulls players out of position.
Yep.
Because he's physical, right? If you look at our 2 goals, he's pulling that team. A bit like the Alfie May theory against Wrexham. Lyndon Dykes was incredibly influential in that game because he was pulling the centre halves out of the positions that they needed to be. Kind of when Stansfield ran in, and for the second goal when Iwata got that clear play. Lyndon Dykes had a really good performance actually. But why do you think Davies gave the instructions for the first 5 or 10 to maybe do the long balls? Because it did look like we were aiming for Dykes with that physicality. Do you think we were just maybe throwing a bit of a curveball to Steve Everton?
I think so, because I couldn't see any reason why we would need to do that, because if we have an identity and we want to play this pass from the back, possession-based style, which we've been playing all season, I didn't see any reason for doing that. But it has to be that maybe it's almost like, maybe just have 5 or 10 minutes of trying that, and maybe using Lyndon Dykes as a bit of a target man like we used to do with Yuki. But I got no idea. I mean, I didn't think we needed to do that. But I think maybe Chris Davies had already planned for the fact that they would come at us, because I think teams' best chance of scoring against us is going to be in the first 10, 15 minutes of a game. Because as we build into a game, as we develop, we're going to dominate teams. So maybe they've got to sort of put all their eggs in basket, and maybe he felt for the first 5, 10 minutes, don't give them any chances. Let's just don't let them close you down like other teams have done. So possibly it was a tactic that Chris Davies was employing just to keep the first 5, 10 minutes tight.
Yeah.
And then basically I thought just open the barrels and then off you go.
Because once we stopped doing that, that is when we gained control again.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a weird first 5 minutes, weren't it?
I just think that maybe it takes you 5 to 10 minutes every match to get up to this is for both teams, to get to match speed.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be caught out on a press in the first 5, that's the vulnerable time when your players are not fully up to speed. Maybe that's why I did it. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, whatever happened, it worked out.
Yeah.
So
And I think it has to have a special mention for the performance, because we're going to come on to the goals now. Williamson, absolutely
did brilliant,
absolutely exceptional. He was, I mean, if you pick Stansfield, Iwata, and Williamson, either one of them for me could have been man of the match. But for his assist, for his touches, for his passing, for me personally, I'm going to pick Williamson as my man of the match for Blues yesterday. I thought he was outstanding.
He was good, wasn't he?
But that brings us nicely onto the goals, Dave. Should we go through goal 1 and 2 for Blues?
Water again. I mean, my word, what a player he is. I'm absolutely staggered. I mean, I saw some moments yesterday that where because obviously he had the ball played to him, he's literally turning and almost not shoving people, but like his strength is just moving them out the way, and he just almost glides with the ball. I think he's fantastic. That goal as well was almost like a carbon copy of the distance from the Wrexham, maybe a little bit closer.
And the other foot.
And the other foot.
He's got a left foot.
And the other side as well.
He's got a left foot, he's got a right foot. He just needs to score with his head now. And he's showed us everything. But, what? Left foot, right foot, he breaks up play, big challenges, he's physical. He's passing. He links up beautifully with Paik. Those two complement each other.
Great.
They really are. I mean, to be fair, me and you, Dad, are massive fans of Mark Leonard, and we called before Iwata arrived, we called Mark Leonard and Paik the Rolls Royce in the midfield. Now it's Iwata and Paik. They're the Rolls Royce. I mean, they are just absolutely incredible. But they
But apparently, I don't know if you looked at social media, but not as good as the Barnsley midfield.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, they say they've got the best midfield in League One. But honestly, we're talking about Mark Leonard as a player that can't even get into our starting lineup. Yeah. He'd walk into Barnsley.
So would Iwata and Paik.
Yeah. But going back to Iwata's goal, and what I loved about it as well, we've lacked for a long, long time. It's not a poacher's goal because it's not that close. It's somebody who's prepared to have a shot. So when the ball is pinging around and it comes to the edge of the box or just outside, and we all keep saying, have a shot. That could happen. It could go in. It could hit a post. It could be deflected. It could be a handball. And Iwata is not frightened of just sort of drifting just between the middle of the opponent's half, waiting for those loose balls. And 2 out of 2, isn't it, really, since in the last 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard me, Dad, at home games, haven't you? Absolutely screaming at the top of my voice, shoot.
You and about 20,000 other Blues fans, yeah.
But, it just shows, doesn't it? When you shoot, you score goals. And as you say, the amount of times we say it could take a deflection, keeper could spoon it, they could hit the bar, hit the post, it could... And anything could happen. Just have some shots, and it shows that we can score goals when we do. And also as well, I felt like our goals came from when we sped up the intensity with the passing. We actually started to increase the speed of the passing, and we've said a couple of times, we've gone from sort of first gear, second gear, third gear. And I still don't think we got out of second gear against Rotherham yesterday. No. But when we do move through the gears and we go quickly and we play with intensity and with purpose, we are so dangerous going forward. And our 2 goals came from those patches of play where we sped it up and we got intensity into the game. And, what 2 goals? Brings us on nicely to the second goal, Dad. I've watched that assist about 100 times on repeat. That little dink from Williamson is just beautiful. The run from Stansfield's timed perfectly.
Very clever.
And there's a couple of people who have said that both goals are offside, but the freeze frame's hilarious. The left back is playing him on by 2.5 yard and a half, 2 yards.
Yeah.
But Stansfield, you've got to highlight his running in through the back. He did it against us from Fulham in the Cup.
I was just about to say that.
He's done it. He's done it now twice against Rotherham. He was doing it all game, and his runs through the back are so intelligent. He's so fast. So dangerous.
I've got no idea what their goalkeeper was doing. I don't care, by the way, but I don't know how can a goalkeeper be that far off his line, knowing that you've got a fast player like Stanfield? And it was a good lob because I don't think them goals are easy.
No. We said this in the pre-match video, Dad. That goalkeeper's flaky, and he proved it yesterday, didn't he? Well, time of recording, he proved it yesterday. So
but that was a great ping over from Williamson, and we had good build-up play before that as well. But to finish like that together, that was 2-0 after 22 minutes.
Yeah. We also had Hansen tested the keeper at distance. He
had a good game as well.
We had a missed shot at the far post from a corner. So as we said, it could have been a 3 or 4 to Blues that game. And as
we had a few close opportunities as well. Yeah, we could have that could have been 4, 5, even 6. But like I say, at the end of the day, it's 3 points against what originally was billed as a team that will be up there challenge. There's no way based upon that Rotherham are going to be anywhere near the automatics. They will improve. They're bottom 4 at the moment after this weekend, but they will not finish bottom 4. But they're going to be, unless something significantly changes, they're going to be mid-table to playoffs. I think.
Not even. I'd say mid-table.
Yeah,
I don't think
that was a poor performance.
Soft.
But we say that as well. But somehow I don't know how they beat Huddersfield.
No,
I got no idea. I didn't. To be fair, I didn't watch that Huddersfield game, so it's hard for me to judge. And maybe Rotherham fans will be screaming now at the screen, saying, "Well, we played well in that game." I don't know. I didn't watch it, but I'm looking at that performance. I'm thinking, well, Huddersfield have done pretty well apart from this weekend. Thank you, Northampton.
I couldn't believe that either.
Yeah. Well, that was a good. Stockport lost as well.
Yeah,
Charlton lost at home.
Good weekend for us at last.
Yeah. Well, last we've had a good weekend. Every week has been a good weekend.
As in other results going our way, though, because normally we look at it, especially last season when we were down the bottom, every team was winning around us, we were losing. So it's nice to have a weekend where we're winning and other teams are losing. So
I can't tell you, Blues fans. Obviously, we go to the games regularly. I know that a lot of you will go to the games, but there'll be some out there that, for whatever reason, maybe can't afford it. It is expensive, or haven't been to the Blues for a while. If you haven't been to the Blues for a while and you get the opportunity, please go along, because what you'll be watching when you go down there is be completely different from what you'll expect and what you've ever seen. It's well worth doing. We've got Peterborough at home next weekend, and that's looking like it's going to be a sellout.
500 left already.
There's only a few tickets left, and and I know it's easy for me to say just turn up, because I know that people sometimes struggle because it is expensive. But if you're one of these fans that have never been down and you've been disheartened by it, and you think, well, when shall I go? Now's the time to go. You absolutely love it, and the atmosphere is brilliant. The team team is brilliant, and it's well worth. It'll be well worth the money if you go down there. I just thought I'd give that sort of out there because we're still pinching ourselves, aren't we? About we're just looking at what we were watching last season, and suddenly, in a very short period of time, we're watching this. But two good goals, and again at the end, I mentioned this very, very quickly at the a little bit earlier in the podcast. Is that Cochrane hit the bar as well?
Yes.
I thought he was going to score.
I hope he did.
I'd love him to get a goal because he's another player that's been outstanding, hasn't he, as well? But really impressed with Birmingham City, and I think that the way Chris Davis now has coached this team is to, whatever happens, to be hungry. I don't think there'll be any complacency. We play the opposition, he'll have them ready, and they'll be fighting for absolutely everything. And the key thing is, which we've mentioned so many times, we've got players waiting to take their place.
Quality players as well.
Quality players. Just a little bit on Rotherham. I know we briefly touched, just about spoken about them really. That was, for us, to be honest, it wasn't real much of a challenge, if I'm honest, for us. And we sort of had this conversation already, really. But I was going to ask you the question, what do you think they'll do this season now? And you sort of answered it, but do you want to elaborate just a little bit on how well that you think they'll do this season?
I think Rotherham was soft, and I think that is a massive negative for Rotherham because one of their biggest strengths is physicality and being a strong team to play against, especially on their home turf. They are quite a physical side, and they're usually up for the fight, up for the battle. Soft. I just felt like there wasn't much passion behind their challenges, their play. There wasn't much intensity. They were very one-dimensional. I'm noticing a lot of teams at this level seem to play hoofball, don't they? Route one, straight over the top, very predictable. And
there's no point playing that against us.
We were just mopping it up, But again, when you're giving it to Clara and Ben Davies, they're just going to clean it up every time. Or when B-Leg's back. So that was really disappointing. And I say that in a way that's like I wanted more from Rotherham. I expected more from Rotherham. They're a good side traditionally at this level. So I think they're in for a tough season. They have had a lot of players come in and leave this summer. They are a bit like a Blues, but not on the same budget, that we've had. I think they will struggle to make any impact. And I think 12th would be a decent season for Rotherham with the way they're going. Just personal. I think mid-table. Yeah. And then maybe they can reset this summer and go again for next. But I completely agree with what we said in the pre-match, Dad, and what their fans are saying. They look like a team with no plan, no structure, no purpose. Yeah. And for a team like Rotherham, I like Rotherham. I like the fan base. They are very humble and realistic.
Well, so that was my point.
See them. I want to see them, challenge a little bit better than that. But I think they've got a long way to go to be competitive.
Well, there's a attendance of around about 10,200 odd total attendance, of which 2,200 whatever allocation we got was Birmingham City. So there's only about 8,000 Rotherham fans. A lot of empty seats in that stadium. And I did feel sorry for them. We've been there, we've been there watching performances, watching other teams dominate us, and the away fans celebrating, and we know that feeling. I felt for them. I really felt because they had literally nothing to shout about in that game. And like I said, I think they're a decent team. They traditionally, as you mentioned, they've done very well at this level. I was, I've got to be honest, I was impressed with Steve Evans. He was very honest in his pre-match interview, and he was very honest in his post-match interview as well. He didn't really make any major excuses, unlike other managers, Nathan Jones. He was very honest about his team and how good Birmingham City were. So he wasn't the type of character that I expected, and I do wish them well.
Yeah,
I do wish them well, but I think for them it's going to be a bit of a tough season. I think
what would be a good season for them in your opinion?
Well, I think they've basically now they've had a really, really poor start. They've got to consolidate. They've got to start to turn this around. They've got to start to get some more positive results. And I think just see how far they can actually go. They could edge the playoffs if they have Any team could, couldn't they, if they have a good run?
It's early doors, isn't it?
But based on that performance, I think out of all the teams we've played so far, with respect to Rotherham fans, that's probably the worst team we've played, in my opinion. That's out of all the teams we've played in League One so far.
Very lacklustre, weren't it?
Yeah.
I think,
but I know for a fact though that they are better than that.
I was going from what we saw on Saturday, because I'm basing this off what we saw off Saturday. That team ain't making the playoffs.
No.
But if they consolidate, they turn it round. Steve Evans is a decent manager. He's a good League One manager, I'd say.
Yeah.
He's well respected. He does have his controversies. I know he's a bit of a pantomime villain, But if anyone can turn them around, Steve Evans can. And, you know, for the Rotherham fans' sake, I hope they can find a little bit of success this season.
But we seem to be the opposite. We can find positives out of every game. You know, you look at Stansfield now, 3 goals in 2, clean sheet. You know, performances of
What a waste of money.
Cochrane or Watson. Yeah, what a waste of money. In fact, the Blues fans were singing that. What a waste of money. You know, and
It's great. It's hilarious.
we're in for a shock and all this
Yeah.
type of stuff. But I don't think like the players, the Blues fans should be complacent either. We should just enjoy it, of course, you know, because it's brilliant and it's not what we're used to. But let's not be complacent.
Of course not.
Let's be like Chris Davies would get instill into the players. Let's respect the opposition. You know, let's respect their fans and let's, you know, just take every game as it comes. And because we don't know, we're only like one bad refereeing decision away
course
from a
we are.
defeat or
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bad injury or a couple of bad injuries. Although we've got a strength of squad, so but it is looking really, really good, and that's based upon the performance. And I honestly didn't think that you know, after 6 league games, particularly after we drew the first one against Reading, we'd now be on 16 points.
I know.
It's absolutely staggering, really.
We've matched our entire away record last season in the first 4 away games.
Well,
this
because it's
season.
100% away record.
3 away games, sorry. Isn't it? 3 away games.
Yeah. So we've won at Wickham, Leighton Orient, and now Rotherham.
Absolutely staggering. I've got one final point, Dad, and then we'll wrap the video up. Is we spoke a lot last season about desire, fight, passion, togetherness. That's back. We are back with a vengeance. When we score, all 11 are hugging each other and celebrating. We feel like a team again. And just a really quick point on that. It's wonderful to see. I love it when the boys look together. We're so in control of games, you know, that fight, that passion, that spirit. Chris Davies has gotten revved up, not just for every game, for every ball that they're battling for. It's a pleasure to see, and we are going to do incredibly well this season.
Yeah, and I think that's a fantastic way to wrap up this post-match podcast. It really is amazing to see the amount of change and transformation that's happened in such a short period of time. And all credit to Tom Wagner and the people at Birmingham City for the investment in the squad, to Chris Davies, who has basically completely changed our the whole culture really within our playing side, and it's actually going very, very well. And we'd love to know your thoughts, Birmingham City supporters and Rotherham supporters. If you stumble across this podcast and you want to give us your thoughts on your team or what you think about Birmingham City, please add a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Birmingham City supporters always happy to engage with you, and we always get great responses on these podcasts. So please add a comment below as well. As always, if you did like this podcast, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our social media channels already, pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And you'll also find us now on Spotify. So if you like to watch your podcasts or listen to your podcasts through Spotify, you can now do that. And you'll see the handles for all of these appearing on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.